The world we all are living in right now is much more connected world. Your kids are on iPads in the school these days. You are getting the latest update of your train, which is getting late, or your ferry, or your bus on your phone right now, because the bus has a chip inside it, which is talking to your phone, or it's just talking to a data center, and data center is talking to you. The tractors are talking and telling something to the cloud at the back end. And this 5G, which we are talking about, this is all about, again, about chips. All the conversations a lot of us are having on social gatherings now about electric vehicles, that is a huge increase in the amount of chips. I think it's about 8 times increase in the amount of silicon or chips which would be required in the cars. So this is the world we are living in right now. This world has much more silicon exposure than a lot of the portfolios around us. So if we look 2 to 5 years from now, this is not going to go south. It is going to go further up. We'll get more connected. Projections are that from 20 billion connected devices, we would reach 1 trillion connected devices over the next 15 years. So with all that background, we want to be overweight semiconductor, but that all is stories. What are the numbers? What are the fundamentals which are backing us to be bigger in semiconductors? TSMC, one of the company we invest in, is going to invest $110 billion worth of capex in the 3 years. That is last year and these 2 years. 110 billion, already a very big number, but to put that in context, this company invested in total $98 billion of capex from 2011 till 2020. In the next 3 years alone, it's actually going to put the same amount of more capex than what it has done in the last whole decade. Something is changing here, and we are putting our portfolio towards things which are changing and which can benefit from that. Second, when we look at here, all the earnings of a lot of our companies in the semiconductor space, all of them are saying that chip shortage continues. Our margins are expanding. We have better visibility into our clients' pipeline of what products they want and what kind of chips we have to provide them, what demand is there. Along with that, the average selling price of chips are increasing. That's another reason. So fundamentally, you have higher capex, which is a moat in itself. You don't expect any company to come tomorrow and start competing with TSMC, which is what to do $110 billion of capex, and which comes with the know-how of last 30 years to be the world's most best semiconductor fabricator out there. So this capex alone creates a moat. Along with that, the demand which all the companies to which TSMC and Samsung provides those chips, the feedback they are giving everyone is that we are sold out. Our clients are happy to give us advance right now for securing the capacity six quarters down the line. So these are very important things which has made us go high in the semiconductor sector. We always say that that chips is the oxygen of the world. When the chips production stops, the cars are left on the port because they cannot have an infotainment center inside the car, and you can't sell that car. Your car, if it gets some issue and it breaks down, and you have to take it to a mechanic, and mechanic tells I require a particular part which has got a chip inside it, and that is not in production, your car could be out of operation for the next whole year. So chips are extremely important. I think that's how you see it, but this is important in medical, it's important in mining, where you're doing driverless trucks are being driven. And along with that, then comes the question, market is perceiving this chip, whatever is happening in the chip sector, to be a cyclical trade, that chips go in undersupply, then they go in oversupply. And whereas we look from the point of view of 5G, from data centers, from connected world, from electric vehicles, we see a huge expansion in the addressable market for these chips, that the demand is very high into the future. So when you have this disconnect of a cyclical industry, of an industry being valued as a cyclical industry, and we have a view that this industry actually is in a secular trend, there would always be a huge disconnect in the valuation. That is because your growth assumptions would be very different than the market's growth assumptions. And when you put that into perspective, the valuations, the way they come from our discounted cash flow models, that makes us go overweight in the sector, and it actually gives us comfort in terms of defense, which these companies would bring because the valuations are so appealing right now.